Glad to be here. You'll recognize this is my title slide. In the interest of full disclosure, I have to tell you that the title slide is the entirety of my original work for this presentation. Looking for the page. There we go. So that's the real title slide. That's who did it. That's the smart person. Tina Greenfield works for our snow and ice section within the Iowa Department of Transportation, and this is actually a presentation that she put together and has given on a number of occasions. So I will cite her as the source of all of this. So a little bit about what I'm going to cover here, a little bit about our history of where we've been, quick departmental overview, some of the unanticipated benefits that we didn't really see coming, and where we plan to go in the future. So in Iowa, we have some roads, a snapshot of our roads. We have some equipment. We have a budget. We have maintenance facilities, and we have some staff there at those facilities. This is actually a presentation that has just short of 100 slides. I think I have like 15 or 10 minutes. So I've hidden the majority of them, and I'll try to get through them very efficiently. So the goals and objectives of having our GPS, AVL, and Plow Cam activities are to basically give our managers an opportunity to see the fleet as it moves and to have a much better understanding about the material that's being used. We want to know about the material that's being used because, as already been alluded, salt is expensive. It's a big ticket item for our winter maintenance operations, and so that's something that we are interested in doing our best to control. We also were interested in turning over as much raw data as we could out into the wild, because we believe that others, when given an opportunity to have access to that, will come up with other creative ways to do that for other positive unintended benefits that we weren't creative enough to even imagine ourselves. So initially, we selected a company by the name of LTI. They provided the LT6. We deployed that in 900 snowplow trucks, which is the entirety of our snowplow fleet in the state of Iowa. And the average cost was about $3,000 per truck and $7 a month for the data, plus a $43,000 a year hosting fee for the data. This was the data that we initially were collecting. Along with that, we thought that that's what we needed to know. And this is a bit about how it looks when you put it up on the screen. This is a screen that we can only see internally. This is not what the public sees, and I'll get into that in just a little bit. As you can see, there's a ton of things that can be toggled on and off depending on what your question of the moment is. Another view shows some of the stuff that we're capturing, the truck speed, the air temperature, pavement temperature, and the application rate for either granular or liquid material. This is what it looks like to the general public when they go to our 511 website. They can see that we have trucks out, and if they click on an individual snow truck, they too will be able to see that the truck is going in this direction, the air temperature is this, the pavement temperature is that, and the number of active plows or whatever. And all right, so to roll all of this data up into a dashboard looking display, you can see that we know a bit about our targeted salt usage and where we are in terms of our glide slope for consumption in that regard. Down across the bottom, there's the little red and yellow lines. We break it out by district. Iowa has defined ourselves to have 6 districts. And so you can see that some districts are in a little bit better shape than others. We've also aggregated the number of hours of operation there in the weather summary box, showing that we have spent so many hours fighting different types of weather events. Ultimately, the goal of this is to provide better service for the traveling public and to save money. So this is a snapshot of how we sort of roll that information up, and this is historical data going back over the course of 10 years. So we began our journey with this back in 2010. As I said, we equipped all 900 trucks, and the new system that we're installing now, we deployed that with what they're calling a split deployment. We did 540 trucks last fall, and the other 360 or whatever were done first thing this spring. Some of the new features, we've gone with the Skyhawk system, and that's going to come up here in just a minute, but the new things that we were looking for, they wanted more to do with engine diagnostics. This brings us Wi-Fi capability in the trucks. We get more information from the spreaders, and we have switched cellular providers to US Cellular and away from Sprint with that. We too can use geofencing. All of this GPS AVL talk, I mean, just as a minor aside, and I'm sure you already caught this, one of the states stood up and talked about in their light fleet. We're only using this at this time for our snowplow truck operations. Like the others have alluded to, the bullet down there at the bottom, it's now being used by our claims department for managing. We use the term managing complaints and damage claims. Windshields do tend to get broken in the state of Iowa, and I'm 100% sure that we are the perpetrators of many of those incidents, but not all of them. And so there are trucks in the state of Iowa that we probably used to own and then sold, and so now they still look like our trucks, but that doesn't mean that we did it on any given day. So we've been able to clarify some of those situations. Transitioning now to the Plow Cam. Plow Cam is an idea that we hatched some number of years ago. We used iPhones as the weapon of choice there. We mounted those using a fishing pole holding apparatus and suction cups straight to the windshield. It's kind of a low-tech solution, but it worked extremely well. We believe that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and it allows the traveling public to make a choice about if to travel and when and where to travel based on the way the road looks before they ever get out there. I mean, who here has not said, wow, if I'd have known it was that bad, I wouldn't have even taken that road or gone today or whatever. And this is just an opportunity for you to see what the road looks like before you ever get out there. And I'll come back to the public's reaction a little bit more here in just a minute. So why did we pick iPhones? I mean, I guess we kind of already covered a bit of this, but everybody knows what they are. They're fairly cheap and easy to come by, and people know how to use them. I mean, it's not like it's a mystery device at this point. We allow 1 hour of imagery to remain available to our folks internally. The reason that we cut it off after 1 hour is because road conditions do tend to change quickly. As we treat the roads and plow, conditions improve, or alternatively, if the weather is moving in and things are going the wrong way, we don't want to give people the idea that the roads are in fact much clearer than they are. We let our folks see it for 1 hour, but we cut the traveling public off after 30 minutes is the shelf life for an image that we allow outside of our network. So, how does this make money for the company? Well, supervisors can sit at their desk and they can check roads really fast using their computer rather than the old school way of getting in the pickup and driving up and down the road to check on how their crews are doing. They can see if it's having the intended effect. I mean, who here has not gone out and applied material on a road, and because the temperature was less than you guessed that it was going to be, or because the snowfall amount was greater than was forecasted, the dilution of your solution is below that which is effective, and so you're not having the desired effect. So it allows you to know if you're doing what you want to be doing. You know, the last line there at the bottom, you know, we've all seen weather radar, and weather radar will tell you if stuff is falling out of the sky. What it doesn't tell you is if that stuff is actually hitting the ground. So we've had a number of situations where the sky is falling and weather radar shows that. We deploy people to respond to that, and lo and behold, there's nothing happening at the ground. So this will help us to have better clarity on that. So a little bit more on the timeline. Yeah, we'll just skip past that. And so now we, as I've said, we make this information available to the public. This is a view of our track-a-plow, is what we call it. This is the way it looks to the public. You see the legend there shows whether they're applying a solid material, a liquid material, both a liquid and a solid. It also gives road conditions, and this is, and this is available to anybody. You can see that if you click on one of our RWIS sites, it'll show if there's a special weather statement that's in effect for that area. And so now a bit about to the public response. You know, this has generated a lot of conversation in social media, and so people are really responding favorably to our getting the information out there to them. It reduces the number of phone calls that we get asking what we're up to, because people can actively go and they can see exactly what we're up to. And yeah, there we go. We've had as many as 500,000 photo requests in a day. So this is not a small thing. This is actually getting tons of traction, if you will, in terms of the public's usage and reliance on this. There's a lot of local radio or television stations who will put up our Plow Cam views and our track-a-plow imagery straight off of our website, and they'll incorporate that into their current situation report, telling the public what is going on. So we're off to a great start, but we still challenges remain. Cell phone coverage, you know, Iowa is a bit of a rural state, and so we still have some areas that are still problematic. We're still trying to struggle our way past having the imagery go one way and the GPS AVL data go through a different signal. And as has been mentioned, the bottom line bullet there is that some of our sensors are not so accurate. And so we believe that, we believe that the new Skyhawk system will be able to help us out with that. We're now that we're going with Skyhawk, you know, we've opted for a vendor-hosted data. They're going to continue to have better coverage, and that's what the Skyhawk system looks like. We've learned that it's much easier to collect data than it is to provide good information. You know, what do you do with all of this is certainly a heavy lifting analytics task to translate all of these inputs into a map that you can actually read and comprehend. We've found that plow photos are being used much more widely than ever we had imagined. And it's really been a great positive PR initiative between our department and the traveling public. And I guess the bottom line there is that it is indeed an iterative process, because we certainly don't have all the right answers at this point. I'll be happy to field at the appropriate time any questions that you think I might be able to answer, but in all seriousness, Tina Greenfield is our subject matter expert for this system. within the Iowa Department of Transportation, and I strongly encourage you to compliment her on her great presentation of this. And I just happened to be the guy that was here in Columbus today to share it with you. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Oh.